Okay, I'm back. I have them sending the applications to me because that might be easier. But I figured out finally online, if you go into the English section and you have to verify your email address first. So it comes up with the screen. You put in your email address. You push this CAPTCHA or whatever that is, that secret coding. You figure out the word it shows, and if you can't figure it out, you keep trying until it shows something that shows. And then once you get a good CAPTCHA, you put that in there. And then you get an email to your email account. I didn't want to tell you my email address. So I cut you off before I put my actual phone number because anyway, I don't want to give out my cell phone even though I never use it and never have it on me. So I guess you could be calling me all the time and I wouldn't know. And then when you get this, okay, so I verified it and then I got to this link where I can open an account. So I have to agree to all this stuff. And I'll just read the agreement because no one ever reads these agreements, and I try to read them because there's a lot of legal stuff that you get into binds with if you don't read these agreements, but they make them so that it says on the bottom of the agreement, if you go all the pages, it says this agreement can change anytime, and the only way you'll know is when you read the notification we send in the mail and you get all this stuffed crap in the mail, and they put all this worthless advertising ahead of it, so you can just say, I'm tired of all this stuff and throw it in the trash, so you never notice that your contract's changed. And that's the way they screw you over in most contracts. Because they say, oh, we notified you, and you say, oh, you notified me, really? When did you send me a notice? In your bank statement? And you say, oh, in my statement? Did I get a statement? Oh, I got a bunch of advertisements, and then way in the back of that in fine print, there's a little, we changed one part here. We're now going to be charging you $100,000 for, whatever. It doesn't go that bad in Japan anyway, but in America they do all kinds of stuff. So if you don't read those agreements, you're going to be screwed. Okay, so here it is. I agree to the various terms and conditions in the 7 bank account terms and conditions. You have to click on that if you want to read that whole thing. And you want me to read that whole thing? Privacy policy provided on... and the privacy policy provided on BankServe website. So in order for you to agree to this, you have to agree that you're going to read this whole thing, but no one ever reads these things. So let's just go to it and see how long this stupid thing is. And it's in Japanese? Okay, but it's also in English. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 PDFs. And you think anyone's ever going to read all 12 PDFs? Well, before I sign a contract with Sony Records or EMI or one of the bigger, I'm probably going to go with Capitol Records Asia. So anyway, if EMI is looking at this video and thinking about signing me, okay, I might, but you better give me a better deal than Capitol Asia, because Capitol Asia is going to be my main squeeze this next week, okay? Anyway, I'm going to read all the fine print when I sign that agreement, because I've already turned down a couple record labels because I read their agreements and probably no one ever read all the extra addendums to this, which these are all PDF addendums to the agreement, and no one ever goes through that. They put so many things that you can't ever possibly read them all, and so you gotta, fuck it, I'm just going to sign it. And then in the last PDF is really the one. So what you want to do is, this is the way Noam Chomsky told me to read the newspaper. If you're going to read the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times, they're all bullshit, but sometimes if you go way to the end of a 7-page article, it's like you have to go through it says go to page 44, and then you go to page 44 and you read a little bit of that, and it says, oh, go to page 72, and you go to 72, read a little bit of that. Well, he said the only way you can really get any truthful information out of the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times or any of these big corporate media is if you go to the last page of the last page of the last page and read backwards up, which I wrote a novel and I gave it to my novel professor at Soka University. I don't want to say who it is, but anyway, he said he opened my novel, he read the last page, and he threw it back to me and said it's a piece of shit. And I said, oh, you didn't even read my freaking whole novel. How can you even know what the last page says? Because you don't even know where that's coming from. But anyway, that's what this reality is trying to spin us all into thinking. If you don't, the last page doesn't make sense, then okay. So this is what I do. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think I said that before. I think there's 13, like the 13 apostles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No. The 13th one is the 13th one that you can't find. It's probably an attachment to the 12th one, because they always put it on the 13th one. That's where they hide all this stuff. That was the 13th apostle, which you can't see unless you really find the real Bible. Okay, anyway, here's the 12th addendum. International Money Transfer Term and Condition. That's the one I wanted. Hey, bam! I knew it was on the last page. Okay, Article 1. Scope of application: the international money transfer service offered by Seven Bank hereinafter. I love these words, hereinafter. Is that one word? There's no space. Hereinafter, that's a new legal word. Hereinafter referred to as the, quote, bank. I'm going to be called the artist, formerly known as, okay, shall be governed by these terms and conditions. Matters not set forth in these terms and conditions shall be governed by relevant terms and conditions contained in the Seven Bank account rules. Together with these terms and conditions, hereinafter, I love that word, collectively referred to as these, quote, terms and conditions and other rules, end quote, as well as by the application laws and regulations, the business practices, the relevant countries, and procedures prescribed by parties concerned. Don't you love this legal work? Okay, so if any of you guys didn't understand what the fuck that paragraph just said, do you want me to translate it? No, I'm not going to translate it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just, because this is the way this reality tries to encode your brain with things that you don't think you understand. But everything that brings up and everything that is times a Buddhazillion that you thought by me reading that, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all? Just say yes or think yes. Okay, right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, POD and POC, shorts, boys and beyond. What did I just say? I just said the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement, so you're going to have to go back and watch another video to know what the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement is. It's an hour video on my YouTube pages. And I need some water because that was a long freaking paragraph. That's the first paragraph of the 12th addendum. And if you think it gets better than that, you're wrong. Article 2 of this international transfer agreement, it's the definitions. Now you're going to get some definitions of what the hell we're talking about because you don't know what we're talking about. The following defined terms used in these terms and conditions shall have the meaning set forth before. So if you ever study corporate law, you will understand why this whole world is screwed up. Because all the corporate lawyers figured out how to make words that no one understands, but only they know, and it's a secret coded language. Just like the Shakespeare, a.k.a. Shakespeare, which was really written by Sir Francis Bacon, the founder of the secret society in Europe that I won't name now because I was a member of that secret society in another life. He encoded in the Shakespeare plays, which he wrote, and he also encoded this language in the King James Bible. Now, I sing at weddings, so-called Christian wedding. Well, it's not really. I do Christian weddings and I do non-denominational weddings. I'll do whatever wedding you want me to do. You can freaking put me in a robe and you can say we're doing a cult wedding. I don't know. But anyway, I do all kinds of weddings. So sometimes I do, quote, Christian weddings where they're not really Christian weddings because there's no real Christian church that people get married at in Japan unless they're really Christian, which there's very few of those. Anyway, but there are some Gaikokujin foreigners that are really thinking there's really a church. Anyway, all churches are corporations, which are all corporations are all subdivisions of the government. And you think you're in a church, but you're not really in a church. But anyway, we won't get into that on this video. What I'm just going to say is that this language is purposely supposed to mean so you don't understand it unless you go to law school. And if you go to law school, then you can join the Skull and Bones or whatever, the secret societies that you have to be initiated into the secrets of the trade, which you don't ever tell people what these mean because Sir Francis Bacon did tell a lot of what they meant in these corporate charters and in this. I was going to say he's the main translator of the King James Bible. But, okay, that's why I went off on this thing about the wedding contracts, the wedding things I sing at. I talked to the father yesterday, quote, father, at the wedding place I sing at on Saturdays. And I said, so what version are you reading? Because I never heard that translation. He says, oh, this is, I don't know what version it is because there's so many versions of the Bible. Just like there's so many versions of even English translations of the sutras. So he he said, I don't know what version it is. I said, you don't know what version it is. Are you a father? No, but I knew he wasn't a father. I didn't even ask that question because in Japan, it's just Hollywood's show trial. Our show, it is a trial because we are making swearing. We're swearing to a Bible. So it is a legal procedure, but it's a show legal procedure. Like most legal procedures are show procedures. Anyways, we'll get into that on another video maybe if you guys are lucky. But anyway, he didn't know what version of the Bible he was reading. But I said, because in the King James Bible, it's totally different, and this is the meaning. And he said, whoa, I don't understand the King James. Does anyone understand the King James Bible? Man, that's like, whoo, Sir Francis Bacon was like doing some secret access consciousness clearings on you that you didn't even know were access consciousness clearance because access consciousness hadn't been even thought of by that time. But anyway, he was way beyond all that stuff. He was giving you these secret encoding transmissions of clearings that you didn't even know, but it caused a whole revolution in England. He didn't think it was going to cause a revolution. He just thought he was going to turn the backwater of England into a republic somewhat like France, where he studied as a child, and Spain and other places he went to in Italy, that where he learned cult, C-U-L-T, culture. He learned the cult of those countries, and those cults seemed to be more high level than the backwater England, and he wanted the backwater England to kind of raise up to the cult level of these other corporations called countries. And so he created a whole new language, which people say you speak English. No, you don't speak English. You speak Baconian. You speak Indo-European Baconian. Because the English language only had the average person had about a 3,000 to 2,000 word. The guy Slick Willie, Shakespeare, he had a language probably of about 100 words because he was always drunk and late to rehearsals and everything like that. So that was the trick. Once he died, they published it under his name, but they took his name, which was Shakespeare, and they made it Shake-Spear, not Shakespeare. Shack is like love shack, baby, love shack. A spur is like the thing you put in your cowboy boots. That's who the guy you think wrote the Shakespeare plays. He wasn't named Shakespeare. His name was Shakespeare. It was Shaq in his birth certificate. It was Shaq in his death certificate. On his will, he didn't own any books because he never read any books because he didn't even know how to read. And he never wrote a personal letter to anyone. He never received a personal letter, and that's why there's no official record of his writings of anything. So how can he write thousands of plays and he doesn't even have any official manuals or scripts? When you write something, it's usually on paper and you keep the paper because that's your copyright, but he didn't keep anything. Okay, anyway, we'll get into that in another video. But we're going into the legal terms of this contract, so you better listen up here, boys and girls, because you're not going to understand a damn word I'm saying. Okay, number one, international money transfer service means the service for executing money transfer transactions and related services to be offered by the bank to its customers who have concluded an international money transfer service agreement with the bank. Number two, money transfer transactions, those are in quotes, means each transaction that the bank carries out by the cash receipt method or the credit to account method based on the customer's request. Number three, cash receipt methods, in quotes. Ladies and gentlemen, the president's on the line. Hello, Chiaki.